Good evening. Welcome to Small Home Comforts. We are here in the Small Home Comforts book corner for our Thursday night bookish chat. And tonight we have very special guest Meg from Meg's Reading Room. So we're going to get started tonight. Of course, we've got to start with the technology here. So give me just a minute while we get all this in. Hold on here. Sorry, it takes a minute. IG loves this just so much. So tonight okay, here we go. We should be good. All right. Good evening, everyone. If you are here, please let us know in the chat. We would love to say hello. As I said at the top of this, we are welcoming tonight Meg from Meg's Reading Room. And we were talking about this quote from Kathleen Kelly that says, when you read a book as a child, it becomes part of your identity in a way that no other reading in your whole life does. And so tonight, Meg is going to share her reading life and her childhood love of books and how it kind of informed the kind of reader she is today. So welcome, Meg. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, Beth. I'm so happy to be with you.
So I'm going to come over, let me get this going here in the comments. I'm going to come over and say hello. But as you know, we always start with what we're drinking tonight. So I have iced tea here.
Ooh,
And this is, let's see, this is a pink rose lemonade herbal tea. Something new tonight.
fancy.
So yeah, I got this from a friend who lives in Traverse City. She sent it to me for a gift. So
Oh, that's a
do
nice
you have
glass.
anything you're?
Yes.
Oh.
So I brought my Matilda mug
Oh,
for
you
thinking
love
about children's
Matilda.
books. I love Matilda. And I have Yorkshire Gold decaf, which was inspired by Jen's reading life. So
Yes. Yes. I've been wanting to try Yorkshire Gold. I've had it
good.
on my list for a while, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So still, I got to do that. I got to do that. Well, we have Martha here in the comments. Actually, I have this thing where I can show you that
Oh,
Martha's saying hello.
oh,
Hi, Beth and Meg.
good.
I can't do it from Instagram,
Oh, that's so
but
cool.
I'm just gonna read. I'm just gonna read over here what I said. So Kelly is here, and Aunt Eileen is here, and Megan is here, and Karen is here. So hello, ladies. It's so nice to have you. I'm so glad you're here. Martha is drinking iced peach tea. Here, I can show you. That sounds amazing. Oh my gosh, it's a little bit warm where we are. I don't know. I don't know about out by you, but
Yep.
so I went with iced tea tonight. So.
Love it.
Right. So we were talking about kind of like how summer reading is just like a nostalgic pastime. Of course, here at Small Home Comforts, I'm talking about kid lit and children's vintage children's literature. I've got my Moffats here because that's the one coming out in the summer book box. And I just feel like summer reading is just a thing. And it reminds me of, long summer afternoons and popsicles and, just kind of getting lost in your favorite book. So all week on Instagram, I've been posting, and Facebook too, I guess. I've been posting some of my favorites. I've been asking others what some of their favorites are, and it's been lovely. So tonight I want to hear what some of your favorites are
Oh,
or
yes.
were, what inspired you growing up.
Well, I was so excited to get to talk about this because I got to think about one of the books that I loved as a kid, summer reading, and I don't know if anyone knows it. So
Mm,
now
gotta love
it
a new
doesn't
title.
have, so it's called Megan's Island, which I'm sure I picked up because it had my name. This is not the original cover. The original cover was really creepy. So if you Google it, it's like a girl in a boat and there's these two like men like looking at her from like the shadows. Really suspenseful cover. And it is a suspenseful book. So I read this like, you know, flipping the pages under the covers late at night. And I've been returning to it this week, preparing for this, and it is hooking me. I remember how
Yeah.
I felt and I feel it again, and it's so fun. So I've been loving that. So
That
this
is
is a recommendation. If anyone needs one, I don't know if you know about it, but it
And
is
it
a
says, what does it say? I'm trying to look at the title.
who or what is Megan's family running from? So
Ooh.
Megan and her mom and her brother have moved around a lot. So she's kind of used to moving. But then one
Mhm.
night her mom tells her and her brother, like, we're leaving now. School's not over yet. And like they were gonna go to her grandfather's house for the summer, but they're leaving really early now. And she doesn't know why. And her mother's really scared. She doesn't know why she's scared. And they just go to their grandfather's lake house, which is in this like remote area. There's like this little island that her and her brother go to. It's a perfect summer read
Nice.
because
That
it's
sounds
summer
awesome.
setting. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But that
I
was a
love those.
that really stood out for me. I
Yeah,
still remember it. I'm like, what was that
I've
book?
never I've never heard of that one. What's the publication date on that one?
I think it was in the 80s, actually. I think I must have gotten it at the Scholastic Book Fair or something.
Oh, those were the best, weren't they?
1988. Yeah.
88.
So I probably got
Interesting.
it, I don't know, maybe like 96 or
Uh-huh.
somewhere around there.
Wow, I've never heard of that one, a
Yeah.
suspense one.
I know, which I'm a very anxious person and I'm not really like a suspense reader, but I remember that it stuck with me.
Well, it sounds like the setting is very kind of atmospheric or,
Yeah.
like, not necessarily in a bad way, but like in a summery kind of a way, which sounds pretty nice. So
Yeah. So I had
that
fun
might be
returning to
why.
that and I'm in the middle of it and it's really good.
Nice, nice. I'm gonna come over here to the comments really quick because we've got some more what we're drinking tonight. So
Yay.
Marina is drinking coffee tonight,
Nice.
and Megan's furnace is running, so it must be cold where she is, and she's drinking her Bengal spice decaf hot tea. Oh, she's
Mhm.
in northern Michigan, so
Wow.
it's cold there this evening. So Megan likes that Bengal spice. She was drinking that one last week too. That one sounds good.
It does.
I think I've seen that one. All right. Well, you know what we didn't do? Like we just kind of went right into the books, but we didn't do an intro. So I kind of like just thought that everybody knew you. And just in case they didn't, let's back up just a little bit and we'll just talk a little bit about, who you are. So forgot that part.
Yeah. I'm Meg. I am a mom of two little boys. I am married to a librarian, and I love to be because it works really well in my favor.
Yeah.
And I host a podcast called Meg's Reading Room. I also work full time at a university, so I'm an academic advisor. And then I do this podcast kind of like on the side. It's my creative outlet, and it's been really good for me and my spirit to have it. I talk to bookish friends, I talk to authors, so debut authors, New York Times bestselling authors, and all my book friends about their reading lives and their writing lives. And it's been wonderful. And Beth was my first guest. So, well, my first guest was my husband, but he doesn't count. But Beth was my first guest, and I didn't know what my podcast would be like. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so nervous. And she came on, and I then, from that episode, I felt more comfortable interviewing other friends, and it became what the show is. So, thank you, Beth.
Oh. Well, I just love listening to podcasts. And when you had mentioned that you were starting one, I was very bold, you guys. I just went and asked her if I could come on, like out of nowhere. I was like, she's starting a podcast. I love her IG account, so, and your podcast is just, it's lovely. It's just so
Thank
lovely.
you.
I listened to the one with Jenny Williams.
I love
Oh my gosh.
Jenny.
Oh my gosh. I've been
Jenny.
following Jenny for so long.
Yeah.
And just to be able to hear her talk to you and everything, I felt like, I don't know, somehow she got closer or something. I don't know. It was kind of, I don't know, but it was just so lovely. I've really admired her work for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you would be
it was really
great
fun.
friends with Jenny. And I always knew I would like her and like
Uh-huh.
because I've always followed her too. But then getting to sit with her, I'm like, oh, I love Jenny. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
Jenny.
yeah, you can
So
just
cool.
tell from the stuff that from her whatever she puts out, all
Yeah.
the books that she talks about and everything, you're like, "Yep, I like that one.
Mhm.
Yep, I like that one." You can trust her recommendations for sure. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so Meg has podcast and that's what go listen to it because it's just lovely. It's just lovely. Okay, so can we talk a little bit before you share your next book? Can we talk a little bit about how you kind of um focused on the American Girls. I know, like, it seemed like it was kind of around Christmas time that that kind of started cropping up for you, and then it just like became a whole thing. And just I think it spoke to so many people.
It really did.
And right? I think it really did. I know it spoke
I'm
to
so
me,
happy.
and I would love to hear kind of like the story behind that. Like how did you pick them up again? What led you to starting to talk about them again?
Yeah. I think I just needed comfort and nostalgia. And I think, I've always loved the American Girl dolls. I had the American Girl of Today doll, and I had a Kirsten doll. And I loved American Girl culture. I know we've talked about that together, that like there's American Girl everything, and you can go down a whole rabbit hole with it. But I love the catalog, and I can remember the pages like it's burned
Me
in my
too.
brain.
Yes.
So
Yes, me
it
too.
just feels good, right? And I follow accounts on Instagram with American Girl things. I just kept seeing it. I'm like, oh, I loved American Girl, but I don't know if I really read the books. Like I knew of them, I knew the stories. I might have read some of it, but I didn't really read it. So I decided at Christmas time to pick up, I think I started with Samantha's, and I read her and then I posted it, and I made like a comment like, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice to get a Samantha under the tree?" And I'm like, "I hope my mom sees this." Like, my mom follows me. And then for Christmas, I said to Alex, my husband, I'm like, if there's a box that's like the shape of a rectangle, like get your camera out because I know my mom and I know she saw that. And sure enough, under the tree on Christmas, there was a rectangle. I'm like, Alex, get it out, get it out. And I
Oh.
just cried. She got me Samantha. So
Oh.
I know it's like these little things, like who am I to get a doll? I have two
Yeah.
kids. Like I'm, what am I getting a doll for? But it was such a wonderful Christmas. So
Yes.
I read that book, and then I read all of the Christmas stories. And then from the Christmas, I went to the winter stories. And then they're out of sequence. Like I shouldn't have done it that way. I should have started at the beginning. But you get the idea from wherever you start. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's been great. And then now I'm buying them all on Pango. So
Oh,
Pango, I don't know if anyone knows Pango.
I've heard of it.
It's like and we actually sell some books on Pango too. It's been really nice. Um,
Okay.
we have like a whole room of books that we also sell on Pango. It's
Uh-huh.
used books from like book people, and
Uh-huh.
I am buying all the American Girl.
Oh, I love these old covers because I don't think you can get these much anymore.
I
In
can't.
fact,
And they have
here,
like little
hold
girls'
on.
names in them.
Yes, I'm gonna reach around here and see if I can. I think mine are right behind me here
Do you
somewhere.
have yours?
I think I do. I should have pulled them out before we started, and I forgot to
Oh,
do that. Hold on. Who's your favorite? You got a favorite? Right there.
aw.
Molly was my first favorite, and
Mhm.
then Felicity was my second favorite. And when Felicity came on, I couldn't decide anymore. I'm sorry, my face is gone, guys. I'm sorry. But I got what else do I have? Oh, I have Meet Felicity in the hardcover. We found these at like library sales or whatever.
Yes, you
So
can find
these
them.
are not like my
There's different
oh,
versions. Yeah,
it looks like it.
little girl's name in it.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'll get like a letter from the person selling the books, and they're like, "Oh, my children love these. I hope your children." I'm like, "It's going to me. I'm the one. It's okay. I will treasure them."
I just feel like, I don't know, not only reading children's literature is nostalgic, but also like, that old saying from C.S. Lewis where if it's, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna butcher it, but a good literature for children is also good for adults, and um I feel like there's it's like kind of like a gentler way, a simpler way to really kind of delve into a story. And I think they're just as good. And you can feel like you can get through a story so much faster, right? And feel like you've seen the whole thing. Um, I don't know. Well, my focus right now is children's literature just because I love the comfort that it brings. So,
I love it.
what other titles do you have for us? Any
Well,
other?
so I was looking through other things from American Girl. Do you remember this? Did you have
No,
Amelia's Notebook?
no,
So this
I
was
didn't have Amelia's Notebook.
also American Girl, and I was like, I'm trying to remember, like, what was it? And I remember that it was like a notebook, and she like wrote, like, the story is like written in the notebook with like little doodles and little like comments, and it's just so fun, and it just makes you feel like you're 12 again, or probably like 10 again. But I love
Susan
that.
Branch's books are kind of like that, where they're like
Yeah,
handwritten, and I think it just lends such charm to it.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, in the American Girl time frame of my life, I somehow found Magic Attic, which probably no one knows.
I
Magic
don't know.
Attic also had dolls, and there was a Megan. So you could tell I liked my name, or I wanted to be seen. But this was the secret of the attic, and it had these girls. And I grew up with my cousins. We are all very close. And in Magic Attic, there was a Megan, an Allison, and a Heather. And those were my cousins' names and my names. So we all had the dolls. So that was short lived, but
Uh-huh.
I was part of the
I
same
don't know these ones.
time.
Does anybody else? We'll have to ask our
Come on.
guests here. Does anybody else know these Magic Attic books? I do not know these ones.
I
Let us
was
know
this was
in the comments
95.
if you do. Megan is saying, well, a different Megan. There's another Megan here besides you, is saying that American Girl came out when she was in college. And her mom got her the Kirsten doll when she was about 20, and she couldn't wait to spoil her own daughter with American Girl.
Oh, it's the best. I have boys. I wish, I mean, I have my dolls out, so they see them, but
Uh-huh.
I'm
Uh-huh.
like dying to go to the store and like
Uh,
buy more.
yeah.
It's so fun.
Yes, it is something fun to look forward to. So this series that you were just talking about, it was a series
Yeah.
or
So they had,
yeah? So was
yeah,
it like a long one?
yeah, so they, well, I think so, because they had books for each girl. So like there were
Oh.
different Megan stories, and yeah,
Uh-huh.
there was one like where she was like a cowgirl or something. I don't know. I have to go down this rabbit hole now.
Yeah.
But there was like a little key that they had to go into the Magic Attic, so I had like the key necklace. I loved
That's
merch. I still love merch.
yes, that sounds amazing. That sounds like an amazing book. Megan says that she did read the first Magic Attic book and she heard about it from another podcast. So
Really?
they're on people's radar.
The Megan, you need all the Megan books. You need Megan's Island too. Do you spell your name the same way?
She's actually, I'm saying her name wrong. She told me this. She spells it Megan, but she pronounces it Megan, and I have been mispronouncing it. My apologies, Megan. I knew that and I forgot it as I was talking. So
When
she spells it the same way.
I worked at a pub, and there was an old bartender. He was in his 80s, and he would call me Megan. And everyone thought it was
Oh,
so strange, but I liked it because it made me feel
yeah,
special. So Megan's
yeah,
a good
yeah.
name.
I think that for the Anne of Green Gables movies, that Megan follows. I believe that's how they pronounce her
Yeah,
name.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
So yeah, I believe so. Yeah, she's saying that's correct. So I'm sorry, Megan. I've been saying your name wrong this whole time. I'm working. I'll do better. I'll do better. Martha is saying she remembers loving to take her nieces to the American Girl doll store in Chicago. Martha,
I
I
went to
was
that
just
one.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a
That was
Bitty
such
Baby doll there.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
we just went this past spring. I haven't been there for a long time, but we just went this past spring for a special occasion that we had. And a good time was had by all. Let's just say that, and including myself, because I'm saying to my husband, "Here, take pictures of me in front of this." They have like these huge, like what would you even call them? Like a billboard? Like, I don't even know,
Yeah.
but they're the front of like they look like this, but they are probably like 8 feet tall.
I think they know, I think they've realized they're leaning into the fact that, like, millennial, like, we're all kind of around that age, and now we're going to the stores with our children or, like, people in our lives, so they know, like, "All right, bring out
Yeah.
the classics, bring out the
Yes,
old gals."
yes. They don't have Felicity though.
I
I
know.
specifically asked and I was like, "Where is Felicity?" We found all the other ones because I did read these. So these came out, um, well, probably right around when I was 10-ish, somewhere right around there. So I read all of them. I read all the Kirstens, all the Samanthas,
Mm,
all the Mollys. And then after I did that, then Felicity came out.
yeah.
And so I read through all the Felicities. But after that, I think after Felicity was Addie, and I think I read like some of the Addie ones, and then I think I aged out of it. So
Mm.
I was like right at the beginning. So like all these later ones, I don't even know. Like Kit, I think is supposed to be pretty popular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I miss Kit because it was right after it was kind of like the end of Me Too. Like, I was right at the
yeah.
end, and then Kit came, and I've been doing, like, these quizzes online, as one does, like,
Uh-huh.
"Which American girl are you?" And I keep getting Kit, and I'm like, "I don't know Kit." And then I posted a book about her because I read one of her books. I posted it, and I got so many comments about Kit. Everyone loves Kit, and now I
Yeah.
love Kit. I think she's great.
Okay. I'll have to go
Miss
back because I
Kit.
don't know her story at all.
I know, but she's so cute. She's like a journalist, and she's so, like,
Um,
plucky, and,
uh-huh.
it's, like, depression time, and I love depression time. So
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good time to read about.
right?
I'll have to go back and see
I
those
think
ones.
you'd like
Oh,
her.
look what Martha said. I can show you her comment here. The dolls had seats at the table when they
My
ate.
pet,
That's
my
amazing,
pet.
Martha.
Yes, I had all of that too. I had, like, was it Samantha's? I had all their beds and their
Uh-huh.
tables.
We
My
had
mother
none of
was
that.
so nice.
We didn't have any of that.
Oh,
We had the catalogs that we would look through, and we had the books, and that was all. We never had a doll. So
oh.
someday I would have said, I don't know. You know what I did get
You
though?
didn't buy a doll at the store?
They had yes, but none of the historical ones, and
Oh,
it wasn't for me.
okay.
So
You
we
have
did
more
get one,
willpower
and
than me.
yeah, so we did. So I did not get one for myself, but maybe someday, you know.
Mhm.
But I did buy for myself when I was a teenager, Felicity's nightgown, and
Yes.
she had a like a little bonnet, like a sleeping cap or whatever. I would sleep in that. And let me tell you, it was like
As a
made out of like
teenager?
polyester or something.
That's so cute.
I still have it. I still have it. But my hair would be like plastered to my head when I'd wake up in the morning because it was like polyester sweating.
Oh, oh, I love it.
I wanted to pretend I was Laura Ingalls Wilder.
And don't we all? I would never survive a second in any of those time periods.
Right? Someday I want to go to Laura's she's not too far. I'm in northern Illinois, so I could go up to, like to some of her places, but I haven't made it yet. But someday I will. Megan says my daughter may have been spoiled with all the dolls and books, possibly because of her mother's infatuation. I think Meg and I are kind of there with you.
Yeah. There are
Oh my
worse
gosh.
things
Oh,
to
Kelly is saying, wear the nightgown on next week's live.
I was
That's
gonna
my
say it
sister.
too,
Kelly
but
is my
thank you,
sister.
Kelly.
Kelly is my sister. She's trying. She's trying to maybe make me embarrassed. You'll have to see, Kelly. Maybe I just will.
Please do.
Oh,
Did
that's
Kelly have
funny.
matching ones?
Kelly did not have matching ones. Kelly's favorite was Samantha, right, Kel? And I don't know if she had any of the Samantha merch. I can't remember.
She had nice clothes, Samantha.
Oh, we just took a little trip down memory lane there. So, all right, you got any more titles that you'd like to share with
Ah,
us?
no,
I'm gonna take another sip of
no,
tea.
that's mostly what I
That was
brought
everything.
here. Yeah.
Do
I mean,
you
I could talk
think
about it for
No, but do you think that maybe like these kind of like how do you think these books kind of formed what your reading life is looking like now? Like do you notice any kind of like parallels or maybe like boosts into what you're reading now? What do you notice about that?
Yeah. Well, I think all the American Girls, like you said before, like the books are short. You can read them in a afternoon. They're 5 chapters each, and then they're historical fiction, and they have like the little history at the end. So I'm reading these now, and it also translates to the other books I'm reading. Because I love historical fiction. I love learning about women, um, and I love that they are so resilient and they're so strong of heart and they go through really hard things. Like especially Kirsten, she went through horrible things.
She
Like
did.
She's like in a blizzard, like pushing like her father through the snow, and like she goes through
Wasn't she
horrible
on a
things.
ship or something too? And didn't she come over on a ship
Her,
and like it was
her
like
friend dies. Spoiler. Like
yes, her friend. Yes. Yes.
horrible thing. Their house burns down. Spoiler.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
that like these girls are just they it shows that in history there have always been really hard times, and there have been people who have overcome with their courage, with their heart, with their loyalty, with their friendship, how they lean on their family. So all of that I love, and I love stories like that now. Like I love women in historical fiction protagonists that have those same values, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
so it
Yeah.
does
Strength.
translate for sure.
Quiet strength.
A lot of what I was, going to talk about how when I was a kid, I didn't read too much. Like I read and I loved Scholastic Book Fair. I loved going to the library for summer reading. I loved books, Babysitter's Club, Sweet Valley Twins, all of that. But what I remember is loving stories. Like so I watched a lot of movies and TV. So I watched Little Women, Little Princess, Secret Garden, Harriet the Spy, all the babysitter shows and movies. Like I was watching all of the stories that I'm reading now. I know them because I watched them as movies as a kid. So I was always getting those stories and loving that. So I love all of the classic books. Now I'm reading them, and before I was watching them. So they've always kind of just been
Nice.
part of me.
Yeah, I really do think that with movies. I love movies too. I grew up reading and watching movies, and just
Yeah.
to be introduced to stories that way, also, I just feel like it really enhances um, your experience. Did you? I know you like Charlotte's Web. Did you ever watch there's an old like
Yes.
version from like the 70s with Debbie Reynolds as Charlotte?
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yeah.
loved that one
Yeah.
growing up.
That's part of
That's
my
a good one.
memories too.
E double
And
E
Matilda,
double R
Matilda's my
double I.
favorite. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I have Charlotte. Yeah. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It probably is my favorite book. If I had to
Is
like
it?
if I had to make one, yeah. Because I think it does it all. It does it
Yeah.
all. And I've
Yeah.
read it a few times as an adult, and I didn't think I read it as a kid, but then I was talking to my parents and my dad said he used to read it to me. So I guess I
Oh,
loved it. It was
yeah.
in me and I didn't realize it,
Part
but
of the fabric of your childhood right there.
yeah.
That's awesome. I just read a book. Anna Rose Johnson wrote The Blossoming Summer,
Yeah.
and I got an arc of it, which I was so thrilled to be chosen for that. And I just wrote a blog post on it, like a review and everything. But in there, and I mentioned Charlotte's Web because there was a whole part of it where they go to the county fair, and she rides on the rides and stuff like the protagonist in her name is Rosemary in The Blossoming Summer. And it just reminded me of Fern and Henry Fussy. Um, riding on the rides and everything. Like there was that whole like she didn't mention Charlotte's Web. She didn't it wasn't like a direct allusion. But I feel like sometimes when these are just part of the fabric of your story, right? You kind of pick up on it. And that's how I felt anyway. So I don't know that she deliberately put it in there, but it's certainly what it made me think of. And it's almost like a little like inside secret, it feels like, or something, you're like, I see like echoes of what I remember from these other wonderful books. So, but yeah, it's just part of our lives, right? Okay, let's see. Oh, Kelly's talking about Kelly is talking about she remembers the nightgown and the bonnet. This is my sister, and she loved Samantha. She wanted that armoire in the wardrobe
Yeah.
that she had, but she thought Kirsten was
Um,
depressing. So
she is. But
oh, she's talking about how they built a barn in the Kirsten one and the whole town came over to build it. That's true. That did happen in one of those Kirsten books. And I think that kind of it reminds me of so many different things, so many different, like, it reminds me of like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, where they have that whole barn dancing scene. Like, I love that there's just like a little bit of, reflections of these other stories. And Megan is saying how stories talk to each other. And
oh,
I so agree with that. That is exactly what's happening with these stories. They live together. And you follow Sarah Mackenzie on Read Aloud Revival. I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I
She
love her.
talks about reading upstream and reading downstream. Have you heard her talk about this? And kind of like what Megan is saying, um, they you kind of read the books that the author who wrote the story read to see how they kind of inform. I've always been fascinated with this concept. And then you can see some of the stories that come after, like
Mhm.
how they're like talking to each other, and they're kind of just all in the stream together. Have you heard her talking about that?
And we are influenced by everything we're taking in. I mean, all these thoughts kind of come together, and any writer is really, they have all those stories in their head. So it's going to come out in little ways. It all
Yes,
connects.
yes,
But yeah.
yes. I just watched an amazing interview. In fact, I was doing research for my summer book box, and I just watched an amazing interview on Eleanor Estes, who is the author of The Moffats, and she was talking about that too, about how, as an author, all of her um, experiences kind of fed into her stories. Like what kind of book she came up with. So. Anyway, oh, Kelly's talking about Charlotte's Web. Fern wore her best dress to the fair because she knew there would be boys there, and she's got all the, she's laughing at that one. So, all
Mm.
right. Well, should we first, before I let you go, can I ask you? I like to ask everybody who comes on, if you, how did I say it? If you could live in any home in literature, which one would you choose?
My first thought is always Miss Honey's cottage from Matilda.
Mhm.
But I was thinking about this because when I went to read about Miss Honey's house, it's not a very nice place.
Oh,
I, in my head, think of it as like English countryside, flowers, cozy. But when you read it, it has no running water. It has no keyhole. The paint's chipping. It's like falling apart because she's so poor. But I just remember her having like tea and toast and it having the flowers and the coziness. So I always think Miss Honey's house because Miss Honey's there.
right.
But when I thought about it a little more, I thought about one of my favorite books ever, Just a Place to Hang the Moon. And it's similar to Miss Honey because Mrs. Mueller, who is the librarian in this story, the children end up with her and at her house, and she has a very cozier version of Miss Honey's house. She
Mhm.
does have running water, and she has a fireplace, and she makes them hot chocolate, like fresh hot chocolate, and she also has toast. Toast is in a lot of stories, and I think it really makes a house. Yeah,
Yep, I agree. I agree. Toast is my very favorite.
right.
Buttered toast.
They always have toast, and they had a snug, which was just like a cozy room where they would read. So the shelves were covered in books, and they had a fireplace, and they sat and read. So I think I'd want to be in her house.
That is a fantastic choice. I didn't even
I love
think
these
about that, but
women
oh
who
my gosh.
keep children in. I've always, I love those
You're
stories.
so right. That was such a good one. Oh, I love it. I'm thrilled with it. What a great one. That's awesome. Love it. All right. Well, we usually end with what we're reading now. So, if you do you have what you're reading now, we'll let
You.
everybody write, if ever anybody would like to share in the comments what they're reading. I usually take a little pause, drink my tea while everybody shares what they're reading now, and then I'll
Aw.
start. But you go first and then
Yeah.
I'll start.
I just finished an audiobook today. It's by Courtney Walsh. She writes a lot of women's fiction, romance, and it's called Everything is Coming Up Rosie. And it just came out this week and it has the cutest cover. So I have so many books to read. I'm in the middle of like 10 books for my podcast but I skipped it all to listen to her book because I love the cover of it. It has this girl on a stage and everything coming up Rosie is, from Gypsy, so it's like theater and it's a story about a girl, young woman. She's in her late 20s who's like kind of just lost in life, doesn't know what she's going to do, where she's going to go. She's working in the city as an actor, but she's not really working. It's not really working out, but it's been her dream to be an actor. But then she ends up going back home, seeing her friends and realizing they're all kind of moving on in their lives. Like they're getting married, they're having kids, she feels like, she's stuck. She's not really doing much. So she ends up getting a job for the summer working, she thinks, for a regional theater company to be the director of Cinderella. But when she gets there, it turns out to be a retirement community. So she is directing Cinderella with a bunch of senior citizens, and it really just changes her life. It was delightful. So
That
I
sounds
listened
so
to it
good.
listened to it in a day, and I love theater, and I was, I an actress at one point, not really, but I
Uh-huh.
love that stuff. And Courtney Wall, she's the author. She runs a theater company. Like she puts on plays with her family, and
Okay.
they have,
Okay.
so it's like
I've
part of her
heard the
life.
name, but I
Yeah,
don't
you
think I've
probably
read
know
any of
her.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually haven't either. This is my first one, but I've known of her, and I liked the idea of this one, and it was so cute.
Uh-huh. It
So,
does sound
if you
really
need, like, a
cute.
lovely, delightful little read, and listen, it's a nice audiobook too.
Okay. And you said it came out this week, so it is
Yep,
available?
yep, came out on Tuesday, so
Awesome.
it's available. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what I'm reading right now, first of all, you guys all know, I'm sure, that I'm reading Emma M. Lyon. That's my, I've been binge reading this summer. So I'm on volume 6 now, which has been delightful and light reading. But I just started this one here called In
Ooh.
This House of Breed by Rumor Godden. And this one has been so highly recommended. When I shared about it, everybody was like, oh, I love it, or oh, I want to hear about it. We've heard such good things. So this one is about a career woman who leaves everything to become a Benedictine nun. And yeah, so I just, as you can see,
Speaking my language.
it's
But
very
that's
thick,
that's a big book.
and I just started. So I have not gotten that far. So I can't tell you yet how it is.
Well,
But I have heard such good things. Like
yeah.
everybody who's read it is like, "Oh, I really liked it. Oh, it was really good." And a friend gave this to me and she was like, "It's so good." So I'm gonna do a slow read through the summer, a buddy read with my Instagram friend Elizabeth. So
Oh,
um we're gonna just kind of do a slow read of it. So it's so big, so thick. So all right, let's see what everybody else is reading. Um, let's see here. Melody is reading Jane Eyre for the first time ever. Ooh, Melody, that's a fun one for the first time. That's amazing. That's a good one. Amy B. Reads is reading The Eight, and she says, "Thanks, Meg, for the rec." So
hi,
she must have
Amy.
gotten that
Hi,
recommendation
Amy.
from you.
Yeah.
Megan is reading Trixie Belden #2, The Red Trailer Mystery,
Mm.
and Louise Penny #8, The Beautiful Mystery. I um I haven't read any Louise Penny. I started and I couldn't get into it, and I've heard that you should jump in the middle of it and
I've
like
heard that
read
too,
from
but I
there.
can't. Yeah, I've heard that too, and I tried. I
Yeah,
started at, like, number 9, and then
number
I
9, I
thought,
think
"I
it
can't
is.
do this. I have to start at the beginning," and then I kept trying to read Still Life, and I haven't gotten
I
I haven't
think I've
gotten
tried twice to read Still
through,
Life. Yeah. And
and
I
I'm
don't know
still
why because
behind.
I love mysteries. So
Yes.
so Megan, you're gonna have to tell us how should we
Should we jump?
persevere? Trixie Belden, of course, is a classic. I grew up reading Nancy Drew, but Trixie Belden, I hear, was had her own following. A Prairie Reader is reading Ordinary Time by Annie B. Jones. That's something that just came out. You were talking about that
I
one.
love Annie, and I love that book.
Yes. Yes. And Karen is reading Travels with My Aunt.
Mm.
I don't know that one, but it sounds good. I like the sound of that one. And Martha is reading Mrs. Lorimer's Quiet Summer by Molly Clavering. That one
Oh,
looked
that sounds
amazing as
nice.
well.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that one looked amazing. I just read Molly Clavering for the first time this spring with Jen's Reading Life, and it was really good. So I want to read some more Molly Clavering because it's. I think these were the ones Jen says where they were friends, and so I friends with D.E. Stevenson. I jumped ahead of myself. Molly Clavering and D.E. Stevenson were friends, and I was reading a lot of D.E. Stevenson in the spring, and then I read Molly Clavering, and it just kind of meshed together, which was lovely. So it was awesome. Megan says she's talking about um, hold on, I'm having a Louise Penny. I almost said that wrong. She's talking about Louise Penny. She said she's liked them all, but they do build on each other. So she would recommend starting at the beginning, but they do ramp up around maybe number 5. So it's, yeah, it sounds like everybody kind of agrees once you get to the middle of them, they really start to ramp up. But yeah, I know what you mean about
Mhm.
wanting to start at the beginning too.
It's hard where there's like 20 of them and you feel like I will never get ahead. I've heard they're great audiobooks though,
I
so
have heard that too.
I should just try. I was gonna do like one a month, but
Mhm.
it didn't happen.
That's gonna
But
take you like 2
someday,
years.
books wait for you.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I agree. And Megan is saying she just picked up a Mallory Clavering book as well. So lovely. Well, this has been lovely. I'm so glad you came. Thank you for
Thank you for
making time
having
for me. I
me.
know it was like a sacrifice for you because you're
Oh,
on the East Coast.
yeah,
So different time and everything. So
it's a
it was just
pleasure.
so lovely to chat with you. So if you don't know Meg already, which I think you probably do, but if you don't, she is Meg's Reading Room on Instagram and also wherever you listen to podcasts, right? Meg's Reading
Yep.
Room at any of those places as well. So
Thank you
wonderful.
so much.
Well, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming tonight, and thank you all for joining us. We are so glad you're here. It's always such a delight to have you here in the book corner at Small Home Comforts. So we will be talking to you soon. Good night, everyone.
Night.